In this problem, we have to simplify the square root of 50 by extracting what we can from under the square root. Why would that be considered simplifying? Because that would leave us with smaller numbers across the board, which is nice. It would be even better if we could get rid of the square root entirely. But we can't, because 50 is not a perfect square. So we'll have to be content with freeing as much as possible of the 50 from the square root. Once again, you would have no problem with this kind of exercise if the number under the square root was a perfect square, such as 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, and so on. I often think of the first 10 perfect squares as the best part of the multiplication table. But 50 is not one of those numbers, so we have to find the largest divisor of 50 that is, and that number is 25. How did I come up with that? Essentially by trial and error. I mentally went through all the numbers that 50 can be divided by and picked out the largest one that's a perfect square, and that was 25. Of course, I wouldn't be able to do that in my head if the number under the square root was large. But for those situations, there are other great ways of accomplishing this task, and we'll discuss them when the time comes. For now, let's proceed with this problem. Let's write 50 under the square root as 25 times 2. Next, by the product property, this square root can be split into a product of the square root of 25 and the square root of 2. And of course, the square root of 25 is 5, so the final answer is 5 times square root of 2. This result is perfectly natural, especially considering another problem where we did the opposite. In that problem, we were concerned with bringing a quantity inside the square root, and we discovered that it enters as the square of the original value. So it's not at all surprising that when it exits, it ends up as that original value. However, this problem is a little bit more difficult because you first have to identify the largest divisor of the number that's a perfect square. But once you've done that, you should skip these two steps and simply write its square root outside, and what's left stays inside. Here are a few more examples. Hey, thanks for watching. Click on this logo to check out our complete SAT math platform. And if you know someone studying for the SATs, please let them know about it. Thank you. Hey, got it on the very first try.